Content warning, y'all. We have lots of fun making this podcast, but remember, we watch a lot of R-rated films, use language that reflects that, and joke about heavy topics to create levity around these themes. If that doesn't feel safe or could be triggering, please take care of yourself. We want you to have fun listening too. This also means we might not be suitable for children. Oh yeah, and we spoil the end of all the movies we pod about. Thanks for listening.
CNT
Second
Annual
Doc-Oc-Shock-Rocktober.
Hollerween Stream Along Spook-a-thon.
I forgot to read any trivia about this movie.
Yeah, samies.
Samies.
Sam Raimi's.
If only.
Saw a picture recently of him meeting George Romero.
Sam Raimi.
Yeah. He's
How
like
was
a
that?
teenager.
Oh, okay. Not like a... Okay.
Yeah.
You said you saw a pic recently, so I
Yeah,
thought
sorry.
it was a recent pic.
You're right. That was ambiguous. How about this picture? How about William Katt's IMDb picture?
I know. I don't like it.
He looks like a music teacher I had. A little bit. Hey, welcome. Taglines.
Hi.
Ding dong, you're dead.
Oh, no way.
Way.
Ding-dong, you're dead.
Oh shit, Monrovia.
What does that mean?
It's a city in Southern California where some of it was shot.
Just have that song stuck in my head that you were just listening to. This did not scare me to the degree it did when I was a small child.
That is the question. It's difficult to discern, but the monster in the closet is designed to look like the napalmed bodies from Viet Nam with bullets for fingers.
It's difficult to discern.
I'd say.
The one question that I have, though, is that I don't actually know if it's the house or if it's actually his, like, I couldn't tell. Because it seems like the house wasn't haunted until he came back. Or like his aunt or whatever was like, oh, the house is haunted. But like it was after they were like living there with the kid. So like that was confusing, or I don't know. And then all this stuff seemed to go, I don't know. It was confusing. I couldn't tell if it was like at him or just, I don't know. I was confused about that. It wasn't supposed to be a comedy at all.
Yeah.
But then they said, fuck it.
And then it still wasn't a comedy.
I think it was like interesting because, there was like, it was the parts that were there for like the interjected scenes of like him dealing with other people between like the house attacking him were so confusing. Like the fucking neighbor.
And the whole sequence that is just jammed in the middle where he just babysits. Nothing comes of it.
I was very convinced that both of them would end up being not real.
Yeah, right.
honestly though, I'm gonna be honest. I remembered so much more of this than
Oh, really?
and I don't mean like I knew it was gonna happen next, but as I was watching it, I was like, oh my god, I very clearly remember like the hand on the kid's back. I was like, oh my god, I remember this so clearly, and being like, yeah, like the thing I think that was most confusing for me is how he like hid his wife's body.
Oh my god.
That was so hard because
That was
she wasn't fucking real, and like no one else can see this shit or whatever supposedly. So if you just left her there, I don't know. I was so confused. It was there was a lot.
yeah.
But like
The
was
movie's not too concerned with
yeah. Plot.
making sense.
That's fair. But like, like you said, like there was something there, like especially like I was more interested in like the back and forth between the house and him trying to write about, Vietnam,
Yeah.
like the back and forth between that. That was like an interesting sort of like, like you're facing your demons, like literally, it was like an interesting sort of thing. And then they
Right.
just like threw a bunch of comedy in there. And I was like, what's
This.
going on? There's no resolution. There's no fucking resolution.
Sure, there is. He burns. The kid gets back.
The kid
and,
gets back.
The house burns.
Right, but it doesn't burn down. It doesn't show that the house burns down. There's just a fire in there.
As we know, there is a second story.
Oh,
House 2 is called The Second Story. No. Yeah.
does it have the same guy in it, William Katt?
I can't remember if he's in. If he is, he's the only one I think to return. Let's see. Big Mama's House 2.
Yes, let's watch that. Big Mama's House. God, that was a terrible movie.
There we go.
I remember though about Big Mama's House. I was
Oh, you know who is in House 2 is Bill Maher. Not joking. Oh, and John Ratzenberger swapping out Norm for Cliff.
Oh my god. I remember I was at like some teen, not teen, but I was at some
Devin
like,
DeVasquez,
no way.
star of Society.
Yeah. I was at some sort of church get together, and I remember that the there was someone, like some dude from the church, some older dude from the church was talking about how he went to the theater to see Big Mama's House, and he was saying how he was really upset because they said God damn in it a bunch, and how it was like really unchristian because they said that. And then when I watched it, I was like, okay, they say that, but they also say like the F word and they say shit a bunch. So I feel like if that's the like,
Wow.
I know, I was like, what the fuck, like. I was like, that's not the word. I was like, okay. He was like, it wasn't a family movie because they said GD in it, and I was like, well, also because of all the other things that are in it, and like, but okay, that's okay. It was very. I was like a teenager, and I was like,
I'm the kind of girl
that's
you
the
take to your mama house. Take to your mama house.
And that's the episode for this week.
Thanks.
Oh
Happy
yeah,
Halloween.
we have a Patreon if you want to hang out.
Oh man, we haven't plugged it in.
We haven't. It's been Hollerween, so we've just been diving right into the horror.
Yeah.
But we do have a Patreon if you're listening.
You know what's spooky?
But the thing
Giving
is,
us money.
right? Yeah, it's so scary. Oh my god. The thing about Patreon that is the hilarious thing is we haven't been plugging it, but we do so much more for Patreon now than we did like 6 months ago. There's like bonus content for each episode. I think you do sometimes. I don't know if you do it every time, but sometimes you do alternate endings, like outro music and
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah, not all the time.
It's not consistent.
Right, but it's a reason to get Patreon.
But if you become a patron, you get to find out
Yes.
the differences
Correct.
because one of the things is I share the spreadsheet where I put the outro music.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which needs to be updated. I don't think I've done
So-
any of this month's.
So we do, yeah, but like there's like a full like 15 to half an hour of bonus content in every
week.
episode that we like every full episode that we do every week. Only on Patreon though. We have exclusive episodes. We have,
Our bi-weekly
yeah.
dishonorable, unmentionables.
unmentionable. But also like we like every now and then we'll like do a poll, we'll, ask
Yeah.
questions. We love input from our viewers. So if you're a patron, you get to have input on this shit that we do sometimes. Not all the time, but we do like asking questions of our patrons and we love when they respond. So
Yes.
if you do become a patron, and it's not like super expensive, we're not we don't have that Patreon that's like $50 tier. We're not those people.
Although we should create a tier like that just to see if anybody does it.
$50 tier. You get a t-shirt and then we'll be like, you get a t-shirt and then you get, and it'll be like, well, no, just like, we're going to give you one of our t-shirts. We're not going to, it's just like
Literally the shirt off of it.
$50 tier gets you a sock and a t-shirt at random. Some people would be into it, bro.
I know.
Okay, a pair of socks.
Anyway.
He's like puking over the thought of getting a sock from some rando. We're not going to be getting a sock. They will. That's the thing. Like, you're like grossed out.
Just please stop saying sock.
Sock. So yeah, anyway, we do a lot of shit for our patrons and we heart our patrons a
try.
lot. Yeah. And we're really stoked to
And,
have
like, we're pretty constantly evolving.
Yeah. And we, yeah.
So,
yeah.
Again, you can have input.
Correct.
Like the lobby was something we tried out and then surveyed our three
Yeah.
patrons at the time,
Yeah.
what they thought about it, and it was positive, so we
Yeah.
kept it for
Yeah.
the patrons.
Correct.
Oh, also it's ad-free.
Yeah.
episodes.
It's ad free and all that stuff. And whether we keep ads or not, it's still going to be longer episodes and shit like that for just our patrons. So it's worth it. But back to the, also we have social media. So Instagram,
Yes.
TikTok,
Z and K Pod.
Twitter, all that. We're just Z and K Pod.
Just
So
all of it. All of it.
you can also follow me or Keith on Twitter. I'm Z_macabre. And Keith is
McFistel Waltz, I think.
Yeah, I'd spell that, but I can't. At Kenny.
I believe in you.
It's okay. I don't believe in me. House. So the
Starting-
plot of this movie is basically a dude's aunt hangs herself,
Mhm.
and
Or
then
does she?
she goes to hell. I'm just kidding. I don't know where she goes.
Nowhere.
Yeah.
She stays in Hill House.
Oh, that's true. And then he is having trouble writing, and he keeps thinking about his kid that disappeared
He's missing?
into the pool at his aunt's house, and they don't explain a lot with that.
They were just over trimming the hedges.
Right. Like, they don't... What? There's a little kid bed in there, but I don't know if that's his kid bed or if it's his kid's bed. That's never explained.
That's
There's a lot of stuff that just they don't explain,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they're just like, it's fine.
most
Which
of it.
in some ways, I'm like, that's fine. Like, I don't need a bunch of exposition, but like, some it could be interesting. Might make things make more sense. And then he goes to live at his aunt's house to write his next book because he's a horror writer.
But his next book is going to
His
be a
next book
memoir
is about
about.
Viet Nam.
Mr. Cobb, we've been waiting a long time. Can you tell me what your next book is going to be about?
It's about my personal experiences in Vietnam.
The war?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, great.
And then he has all these flashbacks, or he's having like flashbacks while he's writing, and he's thinking about stuff, and then the house starts acting weird, and he starts behaving stupid. And then the movie ends with him finding his son
Yeah.
out of the pool.
A lot of shit happens. So, Some of the comedy works.
Yeah, correct.
What was
Fucking
surprising?
skeleton bat.
I love the scene where he's doing the book signing too. That's good.
Oh my god, yeah.
Um,
How horny he is for the neighbor.
but
It's confusing. He's just like, "Hey, girl," and like her I'm surprised. I mean, I should look at the trivia. I'm surprised there wasn't a fucking reveal of her being fake because she was just like all up in his shit immediately, and then she's just not there, and his wife comes back.
I mean, it just seems like it's a setup for the gag of him getting roped into babysitting.
Right.
Hilarious.
Right.
It also makes him very sympathetic as a parent.
Oh my god! When he says to the kid, he's like, He's like, "Do you want like to watch TV? Do you want like your blanket? You want how about a plastic bag over your face
right.
or whatever?"
You want your mommy? She'll be back here in a little bit, okay? How about this toy? You want to buzz off? Huh? You want something else to play with? Yeah. How about a nice plastic bag?
What the fuck? What the fuck? Like, imagine being like, I miss my kid so much, and then you interact with a child for like 30 seconds, and you're like, I want to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'd be like, oh, it's weird that your kid went away.
Also, how he just pulls him into the bathroom.
Oh my god, and he's like, shh, be quiet. And then he comes out of the bathroom with the kid, and he's like, he needed to go potty, but we took care of it. And I was
And the
like,
kid's
no,
like,
no.
Wiping tears away. Oh,
Yeah, the
God.
kid's crying.
There's so much.
I know.
His whole interaction, every interaction with that kid
Is
that
not
he has
good.
is really,
And then when he's like, he asked the kid if the kid wants a fucking plastic bag or whatever, and then he's like, lay down and be quiet, just like that. And I'm like, no, this is not how. No, this is so creepy. Like the way he's like, don't say anything, or I don't know. It's just like the way he's talking to the kid and telling the kid to like lay down. I'm like, this is not. I would not want to see. It's so creepy. I don't like it. The way he interacts with that kid in general is horrifying.
Yes.
And then his kid comes back, and his kid says, "Hey, Dad," and I'm like, oh god, his kid's a POW or whatever.
oh my God,
And
he's in
then-
the fucking bamboo cage. Jesus Christ.
And he's been there.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
That kid, the hot
Mm-hmm.
neighbor's kid is the director's own kid.
Oh my god.
Okay, so the film originally ended with an unrelated monster in the pool that needed to be defeated to rescue the boy. But Steve Miner, the director, wondered if the missing boy could be tied to the Viet Nam subplot. Roger originally dropped from the rope into the water, found his boy fighting a monster underwater, and then fought to rescue him before surfacing in the pool. Wiley, who was the writer, agreed on Miner's point and wrote a new ending, which works wonderfully to bring it all together.
It's a wonderful film. This was I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm glad or if I'm a little disappointed that we ended on this one.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, oh, well,
Yeah.
it was a lot of, yeah. It was just weird. I think so much of it, like, I wanted to be interested in it, and there was, like, some cool aspects to it, but, like, it was so hard. Like, okay, I didn't super enjoy the way William Katt played the main character. Like, his approach to it was, like, a little scattered.
Yeah.
Like, everything was a little too over the top. It was like, if he was annoyed, it was like, it felt like he was, it honestly felt like an 80s comedy show. You know, like that kind of acting. Right. You know? like you're doing it for a live studio audience, you know, you're being overly dramatic so that everyone in the back can see, you know. And so there was a lot of that where I was like, okay, you know. The parts that were serious felt uncomfortable generally because nothing really was taken serious enough in the movie for you to feel like when Norm or whatever calls when he calls the wife and he's like, I'm worried
Yeah,
about it.
right.
It's like that's like a genuine like he literally steals the guy's address book or
Right.
whatever so that he can call his wife and say like
Ex-wife.
or ex-wife, yeah, and be like, hey, I just like I'm worried about him and I think
Yeah.
that you need to like, and that's like kind of a moving, touching sort of
Right.
gesture that he's like
Should be.
right. Like, you know, yeah, he's invading this person's privacy, but he's doing it because he's like, I don't know how else to help him. Like,
Right.
I don't know what to do. You're someone that's closer to him. I think you are someone that he would need. And that's like but it's like so awkward and like shoehorned in. And then like the next day when he's like firing a gun and then he calls the police and he says, there's been a suicide attempt.
But then when he's there with the cops and it's like he's
just
there
busting
with the
in and
cops,
and I'm like, what is
not
going on?
showing any concern or anything. Just
And it would be one thing if he was if they showed him and the wife like continuing to talk and he was like updating her on things that
Yeah,
he saw or something
right.
like that, then you'd be like, okay, that's why he's being like super fucking weird and nosy. But he's just like, and it's like he's supposed to be like a huge fan of the thing, of the guy. I mean,
Yeah.
of the thing, you know, the thing. He's supposed to be a big fan of his writing and shit
Yeah.
like that, and like, but like it doesn't show him like being a fan. Like he doesn't like all of that.
Except
is
for
such a-
his weird showing up randomly whenever he wants
Well,
to.
that's what I mean. Like he's not like, oh, what are you writing? Like how like oh, blah, blah.
Solitude.
He's just like, oh, it's solitude's best with someone, with a friend or whatever he said. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this movie does have some of my least favorite things that movies do.
Some,
Like, I
some of all my least favorite things.
yeah, a sampler of some of my least favorite inconsistencies, like things that I always have trouble suspending my disbelief on, which is people walking into somebody else's house, not announcing themselves, and also not getting killed as a result. Or something.
Right,
but
yeah.
It's bad enough that it opens with the kid delivering the groceries, you know, and
Yeah.
the kid walks through the entire goddamn house.
Yeah.
At least he's saying like, at least he's like whispering hello.
Well, he's like, Ms. hanging with Mr. Cooper?
Oh,
Hanging
foreshadowing.
with Mr. Cooper?
Or like hanging Mrs. Hooper.
Cooper. Foreshadowing. Foreshadowing to what's literally about to happen.
But thank you for coming up with the subtitle for this. But yeah, it's surprisingly the stuff that worked about it are stuff I would never guess would work.
Yeah.
Like there's so much. I mean, it's a little tedious at first,
Mm-hmm.
but there is so many scenes of just like William Katt slowly walking through the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe going to open a door. Maybe just and the camera's like kind of over his back or over his shoulder or something, and you just. Those are oddly compelling and really build the atmosphere of...
Right.
I mean, it's not, it's a haunted house story, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty directly.
Yeah.
But that surprisingly worked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I liked...
Some of the comedy was fine. It just...
like some of the comedy was fine. I think it's like... I think it just didn't know when it was trying to be serious and when it wasn't.
Yeah, right.
And like,
it's one of those.
Yeah. I am not generally, and I mean, take it or leave it.
Yeah.
However you want to do it.
Uh-huh.
I'm not generally a fan of horror comedy.
Yeah, right.
Like, it takes a lot for me to be like, this is a good movie. Like, if something is presented as a horror comedy, I'm gonna be like, that's okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Especially-
thank you, but no, thank you.
Especially post Shaun of the Dead for me.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, if anything is like, if something's like horror comedy, I'm like,
Bye-bye.
it's okay. Like, if it's one thing if a horror movie has funny elements in it, that's fine. Like, horror, it should have elements. Like,
Not a horror movie, but fucking Come to Daddy.
oh god,
Is that what it's called?
Yes, with
Okay.
Martin Donovan and
Yeah.
Elijah Wood.
Yes.
God, that was so fucking
So funny.
so fucking funny in the most disturbing ways. But like, it wasn't. It's not
But
like
not in a 90s
right.
fucking...
It's not like a thriller comedy. It's not a comedy. It's just like the shit that happens. Also, highly recommend.
Yep.
It's I keep thinking about the fucking scene with Martin Donovan when he's like he fed me my own ear. He's like, why did you eat it? He's like, I was hungry. That it gets much worse than that. It's
Mhm.
it was yellow or whatever. Oh God. Anyway, highly recommend. Highly recommend. It's such a good
I'm telling my microphone to shush.
Yeah, it was really. Anyway, highly recommend.
Uh,
And I just want to say this about that movie. Truly surprising. Like, I was
absolutely.
like when the reveal happens, you're like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Like,
yeah, no.
yeah, it's crazy.
And not only that, like, it doesn't peak there. You
yeah,
know what
correct.
I mean? Like,
it's not. It doesn't. The reveal isn't at the end.
Yeah, and it,
Yeah.
unlike this movie,
Yeah. Correct.
once Big Ben shows up, it's pretty
Yeah.
deflated.
Yeah. Right. It's not that like shocking. William Katt's own son visited the set on the day they filmed the scene where Roger is pulled into the closet and the boy broke down seeing his dad in danger. That's so sad.
It's so dumb. They brought your kid on set
Right?
and let them watch.
Like, right. All the creatures were manufactured over a period of 3 months. Okay.
Cool.
Great.
There's lots of crossovers with Friday 13th people, I guess.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like Steve Miner directed one of them, I think.
Mm-hmm.
One of the trivias was like, this was considered a transitional movie for him.
I saw that. Yeah, I'm like, okay. It allowed him to not, whatever.
Yeah.
I stopped reading when it was like, well, he mostly dealt with horror. I was like, I fell asleep in the time that you were taking a piss. I fell asleep and had to shake myself. I find trivia in movies really boring, where it's like, the director of this film also worked with a different actor from a different horror movie at a different time, and I'm like, what?
No, that's your favorite genre.
It's true. It is my favorite. But like all of the trivia is like that is that genre. I'm like, no, that's. It's like the sound designer for this movie also did sound design for Friday the 13th. The director of photography for this movie also did director of photography for another film. Yeah, I'm like, oh, I mean, I'm just, none of that is accurate. Right. I'm just saying, like, if that's the whole trait, I'm like, oh, yeah, please stop. It's very boring. All I want to know, like, here's what I want to know. Did someone's, like, ball sack fall out during a scene? Like, you know, like, oh, shit, my balls fell out of my pants while we were filming this intense fight scene. Oh, shit, my fucking face got cut off while we were filming this intense fight scene. I farted so loud that it broke the microphone in that while we were filming this scene. That's the kind of trivia.
Well, then we should watch the Twilight Zone, the movie.
So the one with the helicopter accident.
Christmas time.
Is that the one with the helicopter accident? Oh, God.
R.I.P. Vic Morrow.
Huh?
R.I.P. Vic Morrow.
Okay, well, I didn't hear. All I heard was
R.I.P.
This is what I heard. Vic McMorrow.
Vic
and I
McMorrow,
said,
man.
okay. I said, okay.
I want to kill my mom.
I want to kill. There's a new one. I haven't seen the original, but I think it's the kid, and it's just people are using the sound where he's like, "Don't talk to me, or I'll fall in love with you." Oh, the pain in my heart. Anyway, God, it's so fucking funny to me. That kid. I want to kill my mom.
Voice is so good
I know.
for that too.
I love how the kid always looks like
And
he's
now he's dressed.
breaking character every time. He's just like looks like he's
I can't tell.
hysterically laughing, and everyone else is like, "What's going on?" Great acting opportunity for that kid. Anyway, yeah, I don't have much to say about this movie though. That's the thing. Like, it's like it was. I know as a kid, like, there's a lot of things that I remember. Like, I remembered him breaking the
Fourth wall.
yeah, I remember him breaking the mirror.
Medicine cabinet.
Yeah, the medicine
Mirror.
cabinet mirror. I remembered that, and that was like, I remember that was really scary to me because when he looks out, there's like nothing there,
Yeah.
and like as a little kid, that was like truly terrifying. And then
Yeah.
he's like that was like this was always something that was always like an effective tool that worked when someone throws, like, you can't see what is beyond, and someone throws something and they listen for the drop and it's a lot further than you think. Oh, that I'm like, oh my God, it's so far down. Like, it's so scary to me.
Okay, we're gonna take a break real quick. Be right back.
Okay, so I remember that. I remember the monsters like pulling him in. That was really scary for me.
Sure. Into the closet. That
I
part?
remember, and I think, at the end when there's the in the closet?
Yeah.
Is that what he said? No, in the mirror. Remember he breaks the glass of the mirror and then,
Oh, and then
they start trying to pull him in. That was really scary to me.
the tentacle monster.
And I think really what really fucked me up is at the end when he like saves his kid.
Yeah.
And then everything is fine, and then the kid, like the monster has the kid again.
Uh-huh.
That fucked me up so bad. Because, like legitimately, like non-humor wise, there was a lot of trauma that happened. Like, I don't know if this was before or after someone had broken into our house and I was the only one that saw them. So there was shit like that I was like dealing with.
Yeah.
That was like hanging out, I'm sure. And yeah, it was just like really like scary to think that like you couldn't. And like things that like watching this movie, I was like, oh right, yeah, like people being on a cliff, that was like a thing that like that imagery, like hanging off a cliff, that was like imagery that like never left. Like I held onto that, and anytime I was scared, I would like, that would be like a thing I imagined is like being on a cliff, or like, oh, how do you like hang on and shit like that. Also like like I'm trying to think of all the things I was thinking of. Like there being something there that wasn't like, so, like this is always a thing that like really fucked with me with movies, is how like your parents, you'll be like, oh, I'm scared that there's a monster under the bed or whatever, and they look and they're like, I don't see anything, and they're like, you're fine, and you're like, yeah, I've watched movies. I know that you don't just look and you find it. Like, it comes back when you're not looking, you fucking idiot. Like that never worked. I'm like, okay. I remember my mom told this story of like one time she was like, my sister or brother, I don't remember. They were older than me, so I hadn't been born yet, and they were like really scared. They'd seen like a scary movie or something, and she was a single mom, and they kept like being like, I'm scared, there's a monster under the bed. And my mom checked and she's like, there's nothing there, I promise, or whatever. And they go back to sleep, they wake up and they'd be like, oh, I'm scared of a monster under my bed. And she's like, it's not there. And she was like, they wouldn't let me sleep. She's like, I was so tired. She was like, finally they were like, there's a monster under the bed. She was like, oh, there is. And she was just like pretended she had a gun and was like, bam, bam, bam. She's like, I killed it. It's dead now. You can sleep. She was like, I was so pissed. She was like, I was so frustrated. I was so tired. I didn't care. I was like, I killed it. It's dead. Now go to sleep. And I guess it worked. They were fine. But, you know, that's like, do that with your kid. Don't be like, I don't see anything. Nothing's there. I looked in your closet with the lights on. Nothing's
Just be
there.
rational.
Right. Turn all the lights out and then look and tell me. Like, turn all the lights out, shut the door, get a flashlight, look in the closet. Like, that's when the monster comes out. Like, don't just be like, let's turn all the lights on when the spell has been broken.
I mean, yeah. And show me you're not afraid of it by sleeping under the bed.
Exact. Thank you. Yes.
You know.
Right. Yeah. Sleep
You're
on the
just-
floor.
It's just lip service.
Right.
It's clear that, I mean, you may not see it, but if you thought it really wasn't there, you wouldn't leave the room.
Right. Yeah. Right.
You
Well,
wouldn't go
also-
to the safety of your room.
Right, exactly. But also, here's the thing. Like, I'm not stupid. I know that grown-ups can't see shit.
Right.
Don't tell me, oh, I don't see anything. Fucking, I know you don't see shit because you're a grown-up.
Yeah.
I'm telling you something's under my
Also,
fucking bed.
you have to wear trifocals just to fucking get out of bed. So.
Right. Like, don't talk to me about trifocals. Fucking,
They
like,
exist.
I know. It's just like thinking you have to. You're so. You have to put those on to get out of bed. But yeah, like, I don't know.
He sets up all the fucking cameras.
This is the thing where I didn't understand. Like, he sets up the cameras, but
There's so many things
here's
that are
what I-
introduced that don't go anywhere.
well, here's what I don't understand about that. He sets up all the cameras, and then he takes a picture with them. And then he opens the door, and I'm like, wait, are they set on a... They're not set on a timer? Or...
There's just nothing about it that makes any sense.
I don't understand. Like, you just
First of all,
took
he pulls the rope on the doorknob.
on the doorknob that is, like, not a handle. It's a knob
That has to be twisted.
that has to be twisted and is circular.
Also, he does his practice run or whatever that involves
Oh.
opening the door
Oh,
and then running out of the
That's
house.
what it was. It was a practice run. Oh,
I
I
guess,
did not get
but-
that. Because he fucking, like, scoots his butt down the stairs. He literally, like, jumps down the stairs and,
Oh,
like,
that's
when
right.
he gets to the bottom, he, like, scoots. And then he jumps out the front door and he, like, skids on the
his
ground. He's like,
knees.
yeah. And Norm says, what you doing there, buddy?
Solitude. The neighbor who's in his yard with his dog. Why are you bringing your dog to shit in my yard, bruh?
He just wants, you know what? It's a conversation starter. I'll say that much. You let your dog shit in someone else's yard. It's a good way to get to know each other. You're going to go and you're going to knock on your neighbor's door and you're going to say, why are you letting your dog shit in my yard? And they're going to be like, I don't have a dog. And then you guys start talking, you know?
I thought George Wendt was pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't think he was that bad.
I think there was an unfortunate thing that... What?
The way you said that. I don't think it was that bad. I think it was unfortunate that
Well, that, like...
he was in this movie.
Because he's so good with
Yeah,
comedy...
Right.
That some of the scenes... It felt like the director tried to let it be funny because he
Yeah.
was in the scene.
Right.
Like the phone call, for instance, is...
Yeah.
Like, he's not really... His performance isn't comedic, I wouldn't think.
Correct.
I don't think he was
But it's
trying to
played
be
like
funny.
it's
but
comedy.
like,
Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah.
But
I liked, like, one of my favorite moments of his is when Roger convinces him to take the harpoon gun.
oh my god. Yeah.
I thought he was like, okay, we're doing this, I guess.
Yeah.
But then Roger just keeps going. He's like, yep.
Yep. But also the harpoon gun at the beginning with the realtor guy is showing him around, and then he just shoots it at fucking, and he's like, oopsie, or whatever. And then he's like, anyway, and he just
Hey, whatever happened to this uncle?
Oh, he was diving for abalone off of Point Reyes. Got it.
Oops, sorry about that.
I was like, oh, this guy's gonna be one of the, nope.
No,
He's
doesn't
the
come back.
realtor. So confusing.
Chekhov's harpoon.
Chekhov's harpoon. Chekhov's harpoon.
I want a harpoon,
I'm
mom.
gonna say this now. A different, like, it's not a ghost story at all, but I think a better version of this film. It's not a ghost story, so maybe saying a better version of this film, but I feel like a better version of what this film was trying to do. The Burbs.
Yeah, I thought about that with. Yeah,
It's
The Burbs is superior to most movies.
I fucking love The Burbs. As you know, my favorite scene of The Burbs is when it's at the end
He puts
and
himself
Tom
in the end.
Hanks
It's
gets
so
mad
good.
and he throws the fucking gurney and then jumps in it and like just lays down flat and is like or whatever. He's just
Yeah. So good.
just pitching an absolute fit. Oh, that was beautiful. But I love The Burbs. That's a movie. I was like, this is not gonna hold up, and that shit holds the fuck up.
Absolutely.
It holds up. And that was a movie it was scary to me when I was a kid. It was kind of scary
Yeah.
to me when I was a kid. But it holds up better than House. Jesus Christ. I think part of what was disappointing to me about this movie is that the scary creatures are too comical
Yeah.
to actually be scary to anyone.
Well,
but
we
a
haven't
kid.
talked about the titty monster.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what the fuck? It literally looks like okay. I'm gonna oh, and Doctor
Z has slipped into a fugue state. We need complete silence for them to perform this.
Okay, and Doctor Who, the new
Yeah.
there are, oh God, what are they called? Slitheen. It's the Slitheen. Where they just have, I think I'm gonna look this up and make sure that I'm right. Slitheen. And they're like aliens that are like really big, so they only inhabit like fat people. But like
Yeah.
which, like, I think that's fine as a because I think, so much of the time people are like, oh, I've been inhabited by an alien body. I think it's an interesting concept that, like, you are bigger, so you would need a bigger person. Like, that kind of, I don't think that that's fat phobic in the sense of, like,
Right.
like, it's like you're fat, so you need to wear fat people clothes is, like, the same thing. So it's like, okay, that's fine. But it's, like, done comedically, so you're like, ugh, just hire fat people and don't try to make it a joke. Fat people, surprisingly, I don't know who needs to hear this or why it's revolutionary. They're people.
Here's
Crazy.
one of my favorite jokes. Fat people. Am I right?
I know, right? Yeah. I always like to say, yeah, it's the Slitheen. I always like to say that I enjoy whenever like comics or like movies or whatever make fat jokes, because I know that it's not funny. Oh, I can stop listening now.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. You've saved
Thanks so
me a
much.
lot of time. I love when they make fat jokes because I know when to stop listening. Because they're like really tall or whatever. Yeah, but they have like, they're just like, they have like long, like they're just so weird looking. I mean, this isn't exactly what it looked, but like proportionately, they're just like absurd. They have like really long arms and they're like of a long neck or whatever. It made me think of that, like where it's like the effect is supposed to be like, they're just, I think, I could be wrong in this, I could be wrong, but it felt like they were trying to not fall into the same tropes as like other ghost You know, like they weren't trying to be super scary, so they were trying to make things like sort of animate features a little bit more and make it less like of a like truly scary thing or whatever. But like,
How about the
They
other creatures that steal the kid?
yes,
up
that's what I'm
the-
saying. Like they have big faces, and it's just like it's like none of it is scary, and it's like.
Well,
but then
what doesn't work is that you have those things
Right,
and the titty monster,
right,
but then also the napalm
right. That's what I'm
Hellraiser
saying.
tunnel
Yeah.
piranha.
And then you have the closet one that's like
the one I mean.
no.
The Hellraiser
Oh,
tunnel.
yeah. I
Napalm.
thought you meant the Big Ben at the end.
Oh, no.
But you have Big Ben and you have the closet, napalm, whatever. It's
Right.
like, okay, like, what are you trying to do? And so it was like it really undermined itself. Like
Yes.
it didn't like stick to one thing. But even like Big Ben, like his face was so comically like oversized. You could see his mouth moving,
Yeah.
like the actor's mouth moving behind
Inside,
the mask.
yeah.
And I'm like, okay, but like use that. Like, I don't
Right.
know. Like
Yeah.
make it look like it's, I don't know, spine. I don't know. Just like
It's kind of, I feel like it was, I'm not sure on the timeline, but this feels like, because I also haven't seen these movies and they're on, I definitely want to, because like Chud, it was movies that I always heard about and never watched, but like Ghoulies
okay.
and, what's the other one I'm thinking?
Have you
Like
seen-
Critters
Okay.
The-
Have you
that, clearly are kind of horror,
yeah.
but also clearly trying to be funny
Yeah.
to a certain extent.
Yeah. Have you seen Toxic Avenger?
I don't think I have, no.
That's one that I'm like, what? There's so many Toxic Avenger movies.
There are.
Yeah.
I follow Night Flight
Okay.
on the socials, and they have a streaming service where they
Mhm.
basically show a lot of
Yeah.
low budget 80s stuff that you've never heard of,
Yeah.
that I've never heard of.
Yeah.
But they just got access to all the Trauma films, I think. So
Oh shit. Yeah. Trauma films. Those are some movies.
they're a thing.
Like,
The Traumaverse.
yeah, there's just like so much that is unfortunate because I think this movie, like the psychological aspects of this movie are interesting and there's like a good parallel and they have like a really genuinely interesting story in the sense of like someone, because when he first starts seeing ghosts, like George Wendt is like he's having flashbacks, so there's
Yes.
like there's that like comparison to like he's considered an unreliable
It's basically
narrator.
Jacob's Ladder.
Yeah, no, seriously, no,
The
not
Lost Kid and everything.
yeah. No, fuck. Shit, you're right. It totally is. But that's.
And the sexy neighbor is Elizabeth Pena.
Oh my god, you've nailed it on the fucking.
Cracked it.
You've cracked it on the nail on the head.
I cracked an egg on that nail.
You cracked an egg on the head of that nail. God.
That nail has got egg all over its face.
Yeah. But there's so many things where like he's set up as being an unreliable narrator because he has,
Yeah.
he's like all this shit, you're supposed to not believe it. But then it's like it's that thing where like they're not showing you like I guess an unfortunate thing of like the creatures that are coming after him aren't parts of Vietnam or the war. I mean, at the end,
some
it is.
aren't.
At the end, it is.
Right.
But like, they're not visually like you don't visually connect it,
Right.
and you wouldn't. So like, it's not something that makes a lot of sense as to him. Okay, that's fine. It's. I'm just saying, it's not something that you would naturally connect in watching it. But like, if it had been like connected, then it would have made more sense to where like to where he's an unreliable narrator, But like this,
Yeah, I mean, he's not established enough as a
Correct.
reliable narrator.
he's not established enough as a character.
Yeah, right,
In
exactly.
general, I
How
think
about the scene right after the book signing where he and his publisher or whatever, his agent, are walking down the street and you can't hear shit?
You have to get back to your life.
Frank, come on.
And listen, while we're on the subject of the book, Roger, nobody wants to read about the goddamn Viet Nam War anymore. They want to read a good horror story.
Frank, would you listen to me for a second, all right? I know this book has been giving me a problem, but it's something I have to do. I've got to write this book.
I just like how he's rolling up his fucking suit sleeves to his
Blazer.
elbow. You know, he's just like walking. Anyway,
He does have some good fashion.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
I mean, it's too bad that the second half of the movie he's just in fatigues the whole time.
Yeah. Boo.
Why are they called fatigues? That's a
'Cause you're
horrible
so
name.
tired of seeing them.
They wear on the eye.
I'm proud of myself for that one.
That's-
I came up with. Thank you, Trauma, for giving me a sense of humor.
Without you, I'd be nothing.
Without you, I'd be a whole person. And I wouldn't need humor. I would just, I'd be okay. Fake? Did you say fake?
I said exactly.
Oh, like, this is a thing. I have so much trouble with this, and this is when a character does something that I can no longer relate to, so I no longer give a shit about
Yes.
anything that they do. When he shoots his wife,
Yes.
well, his wife, quote unquote wife, is like, I came to make sure you're okay, and then she turns into the big-titted creature and attacks him, and he shoots it, and then it turns back into his wife just on the porch, like, bleeding. And then the cops show up, or he hears like cop sirens. So he takes her body and tries to hide it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I no longer feel sorry for you because you're
Yeah,
like,
I'm not on your side no more.
you're a white man who's just like possibly murdered his wife, ex-wife, whatever, and you're trying to hide it.
Yeah. That's too.
This is I don't feel sorry for you. I don't have compassion for you in this moment.
By the way.
Like, would it suck if that's what happened? Yes.
Yeah.
But what's going to happen if you hide it and then you, like,
Yeah.
worse? Like, you think no one's going to find out? I mean, obviously, it's a trick. He didn't actually shoot his wife, blah, blah, blah.
Well,
But the fact that he's just, like, super willing to just, like, be like, fuck it. Like, dude,
I know. I know.
my son is missing, and now I've just killed my wife?
Ex-wife.
My ex-wife?
The cops, by the way, that show up are played by Alan Autry,
Yeah.
who plays the cop for the whole series of.
In the heat of the night?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Starring Carol Channing. No, what's his name? Carol
Burnett.
from. He played Archie Bunker.
Yeah. I don't remember. Carol, yeah. Carol Kane. I would.
And Stephen Williams,
Mm-hmm.
who was on 21 Jump Street and played Mr. X on the X-Files. He's in something else more recent.
Fuck off. Mr. F. I fucking hated that shit so much in Arrested Development. The Mr. F.
Oh, I enjoyed it until the joke was that she was developmentally disabled.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah. That's what I'm like, no, this isn't funny.
Correct. Michael Inson is the guy who plays the realtor.
He's also in an episode of Star Trek. And the lady that plays the aunt is also in an episode of Star Trek, The Next Generation.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure I think she was in something else we watched because I recently brought her up. The old lady so the episode where Deanna meets the guy that's like a fucking,
yeah.
and she's his like, who everyone thinks is his mama. And it turns out that she's his like psychosexual lover that he drains of life force or something, and then he
She's in Flatliners, apparently.
flat winos.
Sorry, I didn't say it normal. Oh God, she was on every television show in the 80s.
Hell yeah, she was. I'm just going to say this.
All right.
Something they don't tell you about testosterone. And by they, I mean doctors.
It changes your body.
Your crotch just electrifies, and it's annoying.
Your crotch electrifies, and it's annoying.
just-
You've heard it here first.
It's just like you take it, and then immediately your junk is like ready to go, whether you are or not. And so, anyway.
Yep. Welcome to...
Yeah, I know. I didn't realize.
I'm so sorry.
I know.
It's got to be hard for you.
Thank you.
Would you recommend?
This movie? Yeah, of course. This is ridiculous. I would recommend this movie if you want to laugh and not take something seriously. If you want to watch a horror movie from the 80s, but you don't like being scared or you don't really want to, like, this is a great, like, entrance into 80s schlocky horror. This is a great, it's not too it's not graphic. It's not super, like, no one dies except for the old lady that kills herself in the beginning. No one really dies. And, his flashbacks.
Well,
and stuff
they're
like
all
that.
dead because, at the end, they go up the staircase to heaven.
I forgot about that one. I forgot about the tie-in to Jacob's ladder. They meet Jacob at the top of the stairs.
Psych, it's Esau.
What?
Esau? Isn't that one of Jacob's kids or something?
Esau, yeah. Esau.
You say Esau, I say tomato.
Thank you. But
Esau
yeah,
tomato.
I think it would be an interesting, I think it would be,
Double feature with Jacob's ladder?
I think that would be hilarious. To contrast and compare the two. Would you recommend? I'm guessing you're going to say no.
I mean, I wouldn't say skip it, but it's...
This is not going to be a first. Let me just say, would I recommend it? Yes. Is it going to be the first movie I recommend to someone? Absolutely not.
I think it, given that I feel like I saw some of it on TV at some point, I think it has a lot of the things that turned me off of
Yeah.
movies like it.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
just the lack of consistency
Yeah, for sure.
of tone and
Yeah.
what are the rules of this
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
And again, like I end up not caring because of those reasons.
For sure.
And so
I think that's why I'd recommend it as like an entrance into this stuff because you're not if you don't like it, you won't like it. If you enjoy it, then great. Like
if
it's
you want
not,
something
there's
low
nothing,
stakes
it's so low stakes.
and low, like you don't have to pay attention because
Correct.
you're not gonna
There's nothing to miss.
exactly.
Did you miss part of the plot? That's okay. It doesn't
not
get
there.
resolved. It's fine. I missed the part
Blink
where this
and
was
miss what
relevant.
isn't there.
It's not. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the first half, William Katt's wardrobe is worth it.
For sure.
I love when he's wearing that gray shirt with the gray blazer and the gray tie. It sounds like I'm being sarcastic because that sounds like something I wouldn't like, but it
Right,
looks good.
Yeah.
And then his deep V sweater with no shirt.
Showing all that cleavage
Yeah.
was hot. Yeah, that's really hot.
Here's a funny thing that I don't know how to feel about.
Okay.
That I thought the neighbor was really hot when she's all coming out of the pool and her hair's flat. But
Yeah.
then when she shows up and she's all
Yeah.
her hair's all dolled out. Dolled out.
Yeah.
Dolled out, balled out.
I like how they just didn't.
I did not find her attractive.
I didn't really find her attractive because her lips just didn't exist. No one in this movie has lips. Yes, it is a mostly white cast.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, you get the black cop.
Yeah,
That's
one
it.
black cop, and then everyone else has no lips.
Also, I love this shit that, like, Anne Elizabeth, or whatever her name is, does these Dali-esque paintings.
Oh my god, I love it so much.
The art is really great.
They're so
but
good,
the
and
joke
they're
is that
not.
everybody's like, okay.
What are you doing?
Just looking at this stain here on the wall.
My aunt was an artist.
Yeah, I guess.
That was something that I was like, I fucking hated because I'm like, these are fucking rad as fuck.
I know.
And like, they don't even.
They barely get
there's
any.
one painting that they show you.
More than once.
Well, no, there's one painting that they actually show you. Everything else is like a piece of
Yes,
it. You
right.
don't get the full painting. You don't get anything like that, and it's super annoying because the pieces that you see are really good, and I enjoy them.
I wonder.
Okay. I think, is it Kay Lenz?
Yes. Who plays the ex-wife?
Yeah, Kay Lenz. She is the voice of, if you've seen the episode of
That's right.
Adventure Time, where the cosmic owl falls in love with a woman, with a bird woman, that he keeps seeing in other people's dreams or in her dreams or whatever. And he becomes obsessed with her. And then he tracks her down. She's voiced by Kay Lenz. But in the end, in the reveal, when she wakes up from her dream, it's Gunter. Isn't that crazy? And if you're like, what's Adventure Time? Then you have no fucking idea. Gunter is a penguin.
A penguin who's also a...
Yeah, Orglorg. Mm-hmm. I think it's Orglorg. Is it Orglorg? I think it's Orglorg.
She's so familiar. I mean, I think she was just on every
Oh, she's
TV
been on
series.
everything. Yeah. That's how I knew. I knew who, when I first heard, like, I knew it was her. Like, when I first saw that episode, I was like, oh, that's, what's her name? I don't know who she is, but I know she's been on everything from
Right.
my childhood.
And everything from my childhood, so that covers 20 years of television.
Oh, 20 years of television. I thought you were like 20 years since you were a child.
Oh, I see. Apparently she's in the music video for Infatuation by Rod Stewart. I didn't know that. She's 4 different episodes of Simon and Simon playing 4 different characters.
Oh, my God. Oh, but that's probably what it, yeah, it's the fucking Simon and Simon, man.
Oh, I didn't know that was one that you were familiar with.
I am familiar with that. That was Gerald McCraney, right? And
Yeah.
the other guy.
Correct.
Yeah, we were a big Gerald McCraney family
Oops.
in our household. I know. Now I'm like, ooh.
So that means you watched Major Dad?
Yes?
Oh, fucking Midnight Caller. Remember that show?
What's that?
It was one of those, like, trying to be sexy, like, silk stockings.
Oh, yeah, no, I wouldn't have been allowed.
Yeah, I don't think I watched it. Just,
Oh, I don't, yeah, no.
fuck is happening outside?
I don't know. That's something annoying. How about today when did the sounds of the guy cutting a sink? Or
Is that a euphemism?
No, like the counter, like a sink shape out of a countertop.
Oh.
Did that wake you up this morning?
Some kind of banging, some kind of slam woke me up, and then the Civil War happening amongst the starlings.
No, it
kept
was
me
like,
awake.
it was literally just like.
No, I was already awake by the time the saw was happening.
Oh,
but
okay,
I'm
okay.
talking about the burbs were just going nuts.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. I was too
Drunk.
caught up in. Yeah, I was too drunk. I was too caught up in
Mimosas.
Huh? Mimosas. Brian.
Who was it? I think this was a tweet I saw. It was like, I'm calling white ladies bottomless mimosas.
That's good. So this is the last. Okay, this is the last episode of. I know.
Okay,
I know.
should we
I'm
do a wrap?
Yeah. So, what is your least favorite?
Okay, let's see. I got to remember everything. House of Hellraiser,
Castle Freak.
Castle Freak,
Society.
Society and Possession. Oh,
Yeah.
man. Before House, it would have been easily Castle Freak.
Correct. Now that it's, I know. Same.
Castle Freak is more problematic.
Yeah, Castle Freak's more problematic, but Jeffrey Combs eats pussy in it.
Correct.
So I'm going to say House was my least favorite.
Yeah.
No one eats pussy in this movie.
Castle Freak, yeah, right. It's more dynamic. House is kind of just boring almost.
Yeah.
So
Probably my least favorite. House is my least favorite.
I might, okay, then I'll go with Castle Freak just because of.
Okay. Just so that we have a tie.
Yeah. Society held up better than I remembered.
Society was good. Yeah.
Possession is my winner.
Yeah, I think it's a tie, honestly, for me between Hellraiser and Possession. I think I'm such a big fan of Hellraiser, and I just was really excited to do that one, and it held up for me. It was just like exciting to do that episode. And Possession was one that I did not expect to enjoy as much as I did, so it was like a big surprise. So I think those are tied as my favorites for this. I'm glad that we did that we didn't just go for like hits, that we weren't like, oh, let's just do the favorites, something that we know people will like. I'm glad we like tried House and Castle Freak and did some questionable ones in there. Just because I think that spasses it up. I would like to say that TikTok removed our sound for the Castle Freak teaser, and I appealed that, and they would not. I'm assuming the sound, I believe, was me talking about how Jeffrey Combs ate pussy and supports sex workers, and so it got removed. It didn't. It said,
Jesus Christ, TikTok really hates you.
Yeah, and so it was like, it said the violation was for original sound. But it didn't say if it was like, I don't know. That's a
great title, by the way.
Yeah.
Violation for original sound.
So I'm not sure if and I appealed it, and it was like, we found that so I just think it was like saying that we use someone else's sound, and just so that, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I said support sex workers or whatever, decriminalize sex work. And they were like, technically this doesn't go against TOS, so you obviously stole this sound from someone else. So, yeah. Any hoozles. So I just removed the video. So you won't be able to find that teaser on TikTok.
So many people will be
Shockingly,
devastated.
though, when I played it on YouTube, it still plays, but it has 0 views on YouTube. Which is shocking to me because everything else has
Shadowban.
views. Yeah. No, everything else has views, so I'm not sure, like, what that is. And you can still hear it on Instagram. So, you can see it on YouTube. You can see it on Instagram. You can see it on Twitter. You can see it on maybe Facebook. I don't know. They get a little, Facebook is a little iffy sometimes. They don't always like what I post there. I just wanted to let everyone know that we're struggling.
Struggling with the algorithms.
This is going to be, we have to come up with a...
We sure do.
We are not
We've
prepared.
got 2 things we can watch.
Yeah, we're not
so
prepared
far.
at all for next month, so we're excited.
Oofta.
We're excited for next week.
Call in now for with your suggestions for Indigenous, Native,
basically
First
BIPOC
Nations
films. Yeah.
Okay, but like
Yeah, especially
preferably.
Yeah. No to Dances with Wolves, nothing like that. We're not.
Wait, but Mary McDonald.
Treat,